11/20/2018. I have had mouse problems. I keep this 2001 Silverado parked outside. I've had a lot of mouse problems. I just got through putting duct tape up here. I had noticed one day outside where I keep this thing, over here right in the front of the car, there was a big piece of insulation. Well, I'm going to say big. It was about that big around, about that thick. Anyway, it looks like it was coming from right there. The mice, now that it's getting cold, are looking for a place to build a nest to stay. So they had dug a hole, pulled that insulation out of there, I guess thinking they could make a nice little home inside there. I have covered a lot of these wires because I've had trouble with them chewing on my wires. I've covered them with little thin pieces of aluminum to keep them from chewing up these wires. This is what I'm talking about. I've covered these wires. I even covered some of them down there. You can see one down here where I got a piece of aluminum. Over here where all the wires come into the electrical center. Just got my coat hung up there. Anyway, I covered this and then tried to tape that aluminum pieces around there to keep them out of there. Lots of places where I have wiring, but what I noticed today, whenever I was looking at this, is that the EGR valve has some wires going to it. I just disconnected it because you can see what they did here. They chewed that red wire completely in two. And they chewed up this I guess, covering. I'm not sure what it's made out of, plastic, I think. They chewed through it. I don't know what the hell to do about these mice. I bought this thing over here, these blinking lights called a Ritter Rat. I had it up here on this thing so it would, but now I had bought one for Amy when she lived here because she had mouse problems. I took hers off because she's moved into town. And I just now today decided to put one over here and one over here. Instead of having it up on the hood, I moved that one from the hood down to here. And I put this additional one over on the other side of the motor. I doubt if it's going to help. So far, that blinking light over there has not helped. I don't know if this one will help, but what I'm going to try to do today is splice these wires back together. I guess cover it with some aluminum, then wrap it with electrical tape. Some electrical tape here. I'm going to pause this and see what I can do. So when I say that this wire is really short, it's really short. And there's probably at least an inch of it that's missing. So it's going to be really hard to fix. I might have to end up buying one of these, and I know these things are very expensive. For a stupid little plug, they charge, I don't know, $20 or maybe more. I may end up having to buy one, but I'm going to try my best to solder a piece of wire on here and then end up splicing it to this one. That's what I'm going to try to do, and if that doesn't work, I'll probably end up having to buy one of these, I don't know, 5-wire plugs. Going to stop it. So it turns out that this cap will come off. You can see a slotted hole here on the edges of it. And then there's a little tab right here. So if you kind of bend this part of it out, this part right here, kind of bend it out, it'll come off of that tab, and I got the cap off. So I'm going to put that cap over here, and now I got a little bit more wire to work with, and I'm probably going to be able to strip that, solder it, and then solder it on the other end. Going to pause it again. That was nice to know that the cap will come off of there. Okay, so I should have taken some footage before I put some tape on there, but I soldered a short piece of wire onto this piece here. I need to put the cap back on also. Okay, and then I made that wire a little bit too long, so I had to bend it here, and then I soldered it over here, and I put tape on it there. Like I said, I should have taken some footage before I put the tape on. But, and then this other wire here I could see some copper wire. They had chewed through it just a little bit, but they didn't ruin it. I could just, basically they chewed through the insulation and I could see the copper wire. So I went ahead and put a piece of tape over that. And you can see this other one over here. They were starting to chew on it a little bit, but I don't even see any copper wires. It's just that they chewed on that wire a little bit. And the other two are okay. They don't even have any chew marks on them. So anyway, I'm pretty sure I got it fixed. I need to put the cap back on here. I plugged it back in, started the car. The service light is still on. I know if I clear it, it'll go away. Or if I drive, I don't know, a certain number of trips, I think it'll go away. Anyway, I'm going to put the cap back on. I guess I'll go for a drive. And maybe I should just go for a drive right here with it like it is. I use this thing here called Helping Hands. It helped a little bit to hold these arms. You can put these alligator clips, and you can put the wires pretty close together and clip one side of the wire, clip the other side of the wire, and then have the two wires going together, and it'll hold it there for you. The only thing is it's got a base on it. It was hard to get a good place down in there to let it sit, but it did work. It did help. Helping Hand is what it's called. The box that it came in is over here. I bought it off of Amazon Prime, I think. Helping Hand. It's got a little magnifying glass on it, but I didn't need that. Anyway, it did help. This is a piece of wire. I cut the wire off of my, I don't know, I've got somewhere here, I've got some extra wire. I have wire inside in here. I've got, okay, so here's the red wire. I've got some red wire. I cut that a little bit too long, but I wanted to make sure I got it long enough. And I'll keep that. I got some green wire and some black wire. They're all 18 gauge. So that's what I use to do the splicing with. And I use this flux that I also bought off of Amazon on a soldering paste, and it seemed to work pretty good. I put the flux on with just a toothpick, just got some on a toothpick. Once I had that Helping Hands holding the two wires together, I just kind of rubbed this flux on there, then took my fingers and rolled it on there and made sure that the wires were contacting each other real good. Then I put my soldering iron. I had to hook it up with an extension cord over there. Took my soldering iron and well, I still have that thing plugged in. I need to unplug it so it can cool off. So now that soldering iron will be cooling down, I can move it over here out of the way because I want to go drive this truck and make sure that I did fix it. I'm sure I did. Had a good solid connection. Anyway, I'm going to put this cap. I'm not going to put the cap on yet because I'm not absolutely certain I fixed it, but I just want to be absolutely certain. I'm going to put the cap right here and go drive this thing, and hopefully that service engine light will go off. I'm going to pause it. I got into the truck, started it up, and the service engine light is gone. So I'm going to pause it again, hook up my, so I don't even have to go for a drive. That happened once before whenever I had a map sensor that the mice had chewed through the wires, and I fixed it, but the service engine light did not go off. I went to go drive it, and by the time I got down to my gate, the light went off. So this time so it sounded like I misspoke. What I meant to say was by the time I got down to my gate, the service engine light had gone off. That's when I fixed the map sensor wiring that the mice had chewed through. So anyway, just to end this video, I put that cap back on and took that aluminum sheeting that I have. I've been cutting it into little small strips, wrapped it around that wiring, put a little bit of electrical tape over here. I stopped there. I know those mice can actually chew through here because they did, but I figure if they chew through here, at least I've got enough wire here to work with. What I'm trying to do is deter them from chewing through these wires really, really close to, say, a plug like this. So basically, that's my solution for my mouse problems I have out here in the country. Just to give you some idea, I live out in the country. I have 10 acres of land. And we do have mice and pack rats and kangaroo rats. What it is, it's actually chewing up all of my wiring. I'm not real certain. I think I've got all that wiring. This wire over here, right here, this wire that goes to the sensor for my air, those wires were exposed. I wrapped that aluminum around it and then wrapped it with electrical wiring. This wire down here was also exposed. I undid it and pulled that out of there so that it would be easier to wrap it. I think I've got almost every wire on this truck taken care of now, I hope. Got my fingers crossed.